Alright guys, back in the Bobcat. You can see how I have the two bottle jacks put on there. I've actually already broke it loose. I just put them back on there to show you how I have them pushing on there. And you can see I buggered it up a little bit, but we'll just take and grind that off a little bit. And anyways, it's loose now. So I took this bolt all the way out to begin with to see how long it was. It's a pretty long bolt. So anyways, this hub is loose on the shaft now. So the next is to finish cleaning that plate off. I guess it's going to be next. Maybe I should just take the flange off and see if I can even see the bearing in there, but so the nice gal at the dealership, or the place that I bought the parts for, she printed this out for me. This gives you the parts list and everything. Yeah, that's how much it was for two bearings, two races. Two races there, which are the same inside and out. Two new bearings. Right here, we've got the seal. And in here is instructions on how to do it. I don't know about that. That must be a tool that you can buy from Bobcat for installing these, but supposedly, I'm assuming that ring, I thought she said was for installing it. There's the seal. And there's some lube in there. Some Loctite lube. Anyways, so I'm assuming that's what this is for installing it, because I don't know what else it would be for, but I guess we'll have to read the instructions and figure that one out. But yeah, there's $170 worth of stuff sitting right there. And I wasn't going to buy both the bearings. I was going to just buy one bearing and one race, and then take the numbers off and go down to the bearing warehouse and get them there, because normally they're about a third of the cost, but I didn't. So I just figured, screw it, I'm there. I'm going to get the work, get the bearings so I have them. So yeah, there's the bearings. And on their diagram here, there's the taper here, but on this diagram it shows that there's a step down there. So that's what we're gonna try and figure out here, if there actually is, or if there's a way I can finagle that bearing out without taking it all apart. But I have a feeling that bearing might be sitting way up in here, and if that's the case, that might be kind of hard to get in there to get at. But this is where I'm sitting at tonight. I made the video earlier today of this, me getting the cab and everything opened up. It's still the 4th today. I ran to Bobcat, got those bearings. I came home, hooked the hay bind to the track, to the 4020, and I made 1.5 rounds, and the big pressure line broke on the hay bind, so I'm kind of at a standstill. Look at all this crap that's in there. That's what happens when you don't clean the twine strings off your Bobcat axles. And I should have known that when I bought it. There was all kinds of stuff wrapped around it, but I can't see anything. I haven't been any better for it, so So there's the coned end. I'll grab my flashlight here. Yeah, and I have a feeling the whole thing's gonna have to come out. But I'll look at that a little bit more without the camera. So, but it's 9:15 tonight. So I'm probably gonna call her quits for tonight. I gotta run to 9:15. Probably gonna call it quits tonight because tomorrow morning right away I had to run to Value Implement and get that pressure line for the hay bine. I decided to cut at least one of the fields, so if it continues to get dry, which we picked up 6/10 of an inch today, if it stays dry and we don't get any more rain, if I get that hayfield cut, there we go. If I get that hayfield cut and it grows back a little bit, I can graze, put the cows out there to graze it off. So I figured I'd get it cut now, and then hopefully something will grow back. But I don't know, I'm not holding the camera very good. I'm too busy trying to watch two things at once here. The worst part is, yeah, there's a lip on the back of there. Take my pick here. There's a step in it, so she's definitely gonna have to come out. So I guess we will get to pulling that cover off in there, and then I'll have to put this hub back on, because this says to do the same thing to remove the sprocket from the inside, put pressure on the outside here against that with the bottle jacks to get it to pull out of that sprocket. So I am going to quit for the night, so I can run and get parts for the hay bine so I can get him fixed right away in the morning and try and get that 10-acre field cut, and then I'll probably work on this again tomorrow night. And really during the summer months, being I don't have any steers on the steer lot this year, being I sold them all as bulls, I don't use the skid loader very often. I mean, it's lucky if I start it once a week right now. Biggest thing right now is just moving stuff around out of the way is all I really been doing with it. You know, and I haven't done hay for over a month, so, and I've just been using the 40/20 for most of that. So during the summer this doesn't get used very much, but once I get to where I have steers in the lot again, it'll get used at least every other day. So, but some of you know that I am looking for another loader tractor. I've been trying to find like a 5425 or a 5525, something that 65 to 70 horsepower range. Smaller frame tractor with a cab, loader, front wheel assist. Something that's a smaller frame that'll get in and out of my pens easier. Basically, I don't want to, in the winter when I'm out wintering the cows, I make 2 trips a day way out there with the skid loader feed. And if I had that tractor, I could have a bucket of corn silage in the front and a round bale and a 3-point and make 1 trip out there. Not to mention a tractor travels a heck of a lot faster than a skid loader does. So I don't know for sure. When I went down to get the parts, I looked at some skid loaders they had on their lot, and everybody's ridiculous on their price. I bought this skid loader 6 years ago now, and I bought it for $7,500. They put a brand new battery in it. It had almost 4 brand new tires on it, but it was missing the door. And honestly, this is the first major problem I've had with it in 6 years. And I have put close to 2,000 hours on it in 6 years. I've used it. So $170 wheel bearing set isn't really very much for how long I've had it. I mean, the other stuff that's gone wrong is minimal. The blower fan on the heater, and I put tires on it. That's about it. And then I built the door because it didn't have a door. So I don't know. I was looking at skid loaders today, like I say, and they had some that had 5,000–6,000 hours on them, and they still want anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000 for them without a bucket. So I think we're just gonna stick some money into this old girl, and like I say, look for a tractor that can feed, rake, cut hay, do a bunch of other stuff, and not put as many hours on this, and keep this guy basically for feeding when he has to. And biggest thing I want the skid loader for is just for cleaning manure up. So if I get a loader tractor, this won't get near as many hours on them. So anyways, so that's kind of where we're sitting right now. I had to get back to try and clean that cover off and get some of the dirt away from there so we can get that popped off. And I don't know if there's a drain on these or not. I'm hoping, worst comes to worst, I can just tip the skid loader up and get the oil to run to the front and do this. But this seal is out, or this wheel bearing is out, the seal's gone. And I mean, with how much I'm moving that back and forth, there should be oil running out of there. So I'm guessing with how much oil I lost the other day, and with it being sitting here, I do have it tipped up, obviously, because I had to tip it high enough to get the tires off the ground. Maybe I'm not going to have to worry about the oil. So hopefully not. I don't want to drain it if I don't have to. So anyways, that's where we're sitting, guys. And I am not going to upload this. I am just going to add to this video, so you guys will see the progress here in a moment. So alright guys, work on the skid loader again. I got that cover off. I'm getting ready to take the bolt out of the end of that sprocket. So that's where we're sitting right now. Got the jack set up ready to start pushing that shaft out. This nut on the inside, or not nut, but the bolt on the inside, this one's takes 1 1/8 inch, and the one on the outside takes 1.5 inches. So I'm gonna loosen that up quick, and then I'm gonna start trying to press it off there. So I'll set this up here somehow, maybe you can maybe watch. I don't really have anywhere to mount the camera to. Maybe you can kind of see what I'm doing right there. Alright, well, there's not enough room in there to get a socket in there, so I'm going to have to do it with a wrench. Probably be easier if I take these controls out, which I may end up doing it. I'm not for sure. well, I'm gonna work on getting that bolt out, and then I'll get back with you guys as soon as I get that out of there. Alright guys, so the sprocket is off. I got the nut out. I kept putting pressure on the bottle jacks as I was loosening the nut there that holds the sprocket on. I got part of the way off, and then I just unthreaded it the rest of the way, took the nut out, and then pressed with the bottle jacks till they both dropped. And now I'm getting ready to pull that shaft out. So we're gonna see here in a moment what she looks like. Hopefully you can see it right there. Grab my washer here that I used. See if I can tip you guys a little bit more. Alright. Well, that bearing's gone. This inside bearing fell off inside the chain case. So I'll have to fish that inside bearing out. Alright, so yeah, that's what we're looking at, and there's all the bearings. There they all are. All kinds of stuff packed up in there. So I'll have to get the seal out, get that all cleaned up. The race is right here on the outside, so it should be easy enough to get to with a welder. Put a bead of weld on there, I'm told. It'll shrink enough that it should pop right out. So we are going to try that little trick. So alright, I'm going to set you guys back up here and get that seal pulled out of there. The bottom of that tube is full of stuff way up in there. Need a smaller hand. There, got it all out. Alright guys, seal puller does wonders. Alright, so I need to fish that inside bearing out. The chain case, I did not drain the oil out. So, show you guys what the inside looks like here. And that sprocket is off and it fell forward out of the way. So I should be able to get the new bearing in there. And then move that sprocket back. Go from there. Alright guys, I got the old race out, got the new race in. I got the new bearing on this side of the shaft. I didn't have a piece of pipe big enough to go around the axle shaft. All I did is I got the bearing started on the end of the axle, and it slid on 2 inches before it got to the facing of where the inside bearing sits. So I just lined it up the best I could, took the hammer on the end of here and pounded it over, then it slid down to the end here where its facing is down here. And then I just slid them up in there. I took the hammer and I beat them on the rest of the way like that. Now I've got it out. I've got to get that bearing on the inside. And then I'll be ready to get that sprocket back on, which I'm told is the fun part. So anyways, that's where we're sitting right now. Try and get it somewhat close. So I gotta get that bearing over that. And then get the sprocket back on, which I'm told is the fun part. So I'm not gonna record it because there might be a lot of cussing and swearing because I'm by myself right now. So I will get back to you guys in a moment. Alright. Everybody says you need 2 people for this job. Bullshit. You don't need 2 people. All I did, I got the shaft through, I got that bearing set on there, I put my knee or my leg against this, the shaft on the outside, reached in here like so, run him back and got him started. You can put your hand down in there and get it in the slot, in, you know, where the splines are on the sprocket, get him started. Then you kind of got to jimmy it around a little bit, which you can push with your leg right here. Reach in here and jimmy this around. And I have it far enough that I've got that bolt started. So now it's just a matter of slowly tightening that and making sure the bearings go in the races without messing them up. So when people say you need two people to do it, you don't need 2 people to do it. Maybe you have to be 6.5 foot tall like me. I'm not 6.5 foot tall, but I'm 6 foot tall. And have monkey arms, I don't know, but you don't have to have 2 people to do it. Now I got this pushed in as far as she'll go. Now if I start tightening up this bolt, just slowly start tightening it, and then lift them up, which I'll probably push it back out. Or else try and balance it so both bearings are started in the races before I start putting too much love on them. And I did end up taking off the right drive control just for a little bit more room, but I left the left drive control alone. So now I'm starting to pull. I'm just going to lift it up and push the shaft back out just a hair so this bearing is started in there so I don't crush it by accident. Then I'll tighten it a little bit more and bounce and make sure that neither one of them are binding. And I did grease the outside bearing. I packed it with grease. Just because it might take a little bit longer for oil to get out to that bearing. So I'll show you guys that in a minute. My bearing packer that I have. It's nothing fancy, but I think I bought it from the Matco guy years ago. Probably 20 years ago now. And I'm not too worried about binding at this point because if you can look down at that hub down there, you can see it spinning as I'm tightening it. And I got lucky, Brian G, and you guys, like you had mentioned, hopefully it didn't wear too long and ruin the shaft. Well, it didn't ruin the shaft and it didn't ruin the race. You know, it didn't cut into the race much, so it didn't ruin the tube where the race mounts into, so got lucky there. And it took a little bit of pounding on this big nut to get the outside bearing on the shaft where it needed to be. So it should be good to go. It's not tight yet, but I'm not going to record the whole time tightening it just because the video is going to get long. So, but yeah, that's where we're sitting right now. Get that nut tightened up. Then once I get him tight, then I need to take that nut back out, get that faceplate back off, install the new seal, and then I'm going to have to, right here where I had to hit on it to shock him free, I'm going to have to take a grinder and grind that smooth again so the tire mounts on there flush. So, but this is where we're sitting right this moment. So once I get this nut tightened up, I'll get that off and I'll be back with you guys in a moment. Alright guys, I've got that, the nut is tight holding the sprocket on the shaft. And I picked this up so I don't lose it, it's for the cab mount. So that nut is tight. All I need to do is go get some silicone, clean up the thing for the cover there, put some silicone on it, put the cover back on, and then put that control arm back together. Then I'm done in there. But right now I got to put that seal in. So I'm going to install that seal and try not to ruin it. But in the kit I bought, it comes with this little deal here. It's supposed to go on here and be like a seal installer tool. I'm sure I'm just going to ruin it in the process. The other thing I want to show you guys is that I packed that bearing with grease in there, if you can see it. I think you can kind of see the grease around there. I'll grab my flashlight out of here. See, I packed that bearing with grease. That way it has some lubrication for now until the oil gets to it. And I have this bearing packer here I bought from, I'm pretty sure it was Matco 20 years ago now. Oh, Blue Point Snap-on. So that thing works handy. Nothing else, you put your bearing in there, put it in the vise, and squeeze it together, fill them full of grease. I should just put it back. Shop kind of becomes a mess when you don't put nothing away, and as you can see I don't put a lot of stuff away. He's got the nice little cover to keep the dirt out. So I'm going to try and install this seal quick. Try not to ruin it putting it in there. We'll see how that goes. I don't know how it's... Is that right there isn't big enough to go around that, so you might have to do it the old way. And I'm gonna have to get that key off there. There we go, seal's installed. Put this fella back in there before I forget. There we go, boys. All I need to do is grab the grinder, clean off that face right here. Right there, which I should have done that before. I put it back on there, could have done it on the bench, but oh well. So there you go. New seal, 2 new bearings, races. All I need to do is top that off with oil. I don't know how much is supposed to be in there. And of course I have it sitting downhill right now, so I'm probably going to dump another couple gallons in there just to make sure. And I'm sure that's why this bearing went out, is because there was probably only 2 gallons of oil in there. I don't know if it ever even made it to the outside bearings. So yeah, we got 2 5-gallon pails of oil over there and another one over there with a couple gallons in it. So I'm gonna grind that down. That tire I need to take down to Cenex and find out why it keeps going flat. I'll drop that off. I need to go get some silicone, put around that cover, and then button her up and be ready to roll. So any questions, comments, send them to me. If you like this video, hit the like button. That's what she is. I mean, it wasn't that bad of a job, to tell you the truth. I think if it would have been the other side, it might have been a little more difficult, just because of how I was using my knee to push in on here, you know, and reach in that sprocket. I could use my right arm, but I would think I could still do it from the other side. There's there's a little bit more stuff in the way over there, but it's in the way, but not really. So yeah, that's that. So hopefully you guys found it somewhat informative. The races in here, I did not use the welding method. I had a slide hammer. I just put in there and popped them out and popped the new ones in quick. So and then the inside one, I just used a shaft or a pipe and pounded it out quick, and I pulled the new one in. And when I tightened that up, that should have pushed that race totally back into where it belongs. So yeah, there you go, guys. That should have fixed it. So we'll catch you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching.